My friend,
Dan, how you going, mate?
the real question is, how are you going on this monumental Tarkov day?
Oh, it's amazing, dude. All right, you got until the end of this raid
Okay.
to interview me like it's a podcast. Let's go.
Well, I'll tell you before that.
So, guys, without further ado, let's crack
Straight into it. All right.
Let's crack straight into it.
So I interviewed you a while back. You told me about your backstory, and you've been grinding in Tarkov, and here we are. Let's call it the monumental day in Tarkov history. When did it strike you that things were going to be a little bit different when you fired up your stream today?
When the new Twitch drop event kicked off, and I saw Clean's numbers go from like 3,000 to like 7,000 in about 15 seconds, I was like, whoa. And I'm like, I was panicking because my Twitch drop thing wasn't working at the start. And if anyone was at the start of the stream, they'd know that I was going a bit crazy.
And so
I was freaking out.
So you sign in normally. What do you, when you start a show, what are your viewers normally at? And then what was it like today? How was it different when you started up?
I usually hit 2,000 viewers in about half an hour, and then sit around 3,000 around the hour mark.
Okay.
I can't remember, dude. It was like an hour and a half in, and it just went to like 10,000.
Okay, and at that point, something's different. What are you feeling internally? You're like, hey, I'm got to make sure I'm hydrated so I can run this thing forever, or what did you think?
Oh, well, see, for me, 13,500 was the most amount of viewers I've had without a host before. So I was like, if I got to 13,500, that's the best. So I said, I'll call mum and tell mum. And everyone was all amongst that. And we were like 100 viewers away, and someone hosted me with the 2,000 viewers. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm going to wait till 15,000 now to call mum. And so I called mum.
And when you called your mom, because I saw that it was like, at this, call mom, at this, call your sister. When you called your mom, did she have any idea of the situation, or is she just kind of like, yeah, whatever, son?
Mum's kind of getting her head around it a little bit. She's taken a little while to get used to me being a streamer. She doesn't really understand it, but over Christmas I was back at my mum's for 3 weeks, and I streamed every day from her house, so she understands how much time I put into it now. Okay.
And then all right, so mom was the first call, and then at what point did you say, all right, let me set another just stretch goal? And then what was that?
I think it was like 20,000. I said I'd call, was it my sister? No, it was my nana. I called my nana at 20,000. And then we hit that really quickly. And then I was like, well, we'll call my sister at 22 and a half. So we hit that. And then I was like, I'll call dad at 25. And we hit that.
And just for context, for people that don't know, how long have you been streaming today?
So far, I've been streaming 18 and a half hours.
Okay. And
I'm going to break my record. I'm going to go for 42 and a half hours to 43 hours.
So you're going to stream for almost 2 straight days? Yeah,
well, I've got 24 hours from now. I would have streamed my longest I've ever streamed.
Okay. Before you do anything else, make sure you slow play the heck out of this raid. Don't run into any firefights. Anyways, all right. So when you make that decision, because it's not a normal decision, or I'd say everyday decision, you're going to go for over close to 2 days. What are you doing now to prep for that? Because you're about half of the way there, maybe. Like physically, what are you doing to prep for that?
Well, like today's my wife's birthday.
Yeah,
New Year's Eve is my wife's birthday.
That's on the list of questions.
I'm gonna hit to midnight, which is like the next decade. Honestly, I was like, I took a break and I spoke to my wife. I said, can we just do stuff for your birthday on a different day? Like, this is life changing for me. Like, the amount of money we're making from this stream, from running all the ads that people are doing, like the ads people are letting me do, this is going to like honestly set us up really well for the future. So like, if this never happens again, and this is the biggest my stream will ever be, this will be a milestone I'll remember for the rest of my life. So it was pretty straightforward, pretty easy decision for my wife and I to say, hey, let's just go for as long as I feel healthy, which is what I do when I do my long streams. Just whenever I feel like, I feel like I need to stop, I stop.
I'll tell you what, that's what was awesome to see your community. I think I was watching you around 20 and everyone's like, give ads, give ads, give ads. How does that make you feel, in terms of your community, that they're asking for ads?
I feel a little bit greedy, but they're so like, they understand, like $400 at the moment, $450 to run a set of ads is super. Sit
yourself down.
Like that's like, we're doing like 2 to 3 lots an hour. That's like incredible amount of money. Like, I worked so hard in the army to make like $4,000 a month, and these guys are like possibly, I don't know exactly how much I'm making, but potentially I'm making that in like 3-4 hours time.
Yeah,
You know, like who knows? I got no idea. We'll have to wait and see how it all ends up.
yeah, and we talked about that. So I interviewed Pestily a few months ago about his background, and you guys could look that up. But can you give people just a Reader's Digest that don't know your backstory about what you did in the Army and how long you were in it for?
I was in the Army for 8 years in the infantry, and I served as a.
Oh, he's
I'm not in Florida. Hang on.
Yeah, he's in a firefight, gentlemen.
I think this is Killer. I think that was Killer. Yeah, so I worked really hard. I'm really proud of what I did, but it wasn't the job for me in the end. I needed to get out after 8 years.
And what told you that it was time to get out internally?
33 years old. Sorry, I was 30 years old. I want to travel the world, and I don't want to live my life on the clock of the Army. So,
and speaking of traveling the world, do you have something pretty big planned up? I know you're going on like a long-term streaming experience with your wife. Can you tell people what they can expect from that and what your plans are for that coming up in the middle of a firefight?
Well, I just killed a player. I'm going to Europe in about 2 weeks' time, and we're going to be living in Europe for 11 months, seeing every country of Europe, traveling around. And that's why this stream is so life-changing, for the fact that this money will help us travel around, and we're not worried too much about the money side of things as much, and we can actually live life to the fullest like we really preach with this whole trip as well.
So are you planning on live streaming during this trip? And is there any concern for you that, all right, here, let's just call we're at near the top of the mountain or a very important day in Tarkov history, and then you're leaving relatively soon? Does that play into your mind at all?
Not really, because this is just more important than anything. Like when you think about the end of the day, like you only live life once. If you don't live it, then what are you doing? You know?
Yeah. So when you're on this trip, are you going to be streaming at all? Subscriber.
Yeah, I'm going to stream about 20 days a month. So it's still going to be a fair bit of streaming involved.
Okay. Cool. All right. So back to Tarkov. Did you just get a confirmed kill on Killer?
No, that was a player.
Okay. How many total Killer kills do you have right now, roughly? If you had to guess.
40.
40. Okay. What?
40.
I don't feel comfortable saying Killer, and for people that are wanting. Anyway, do you think? I mean, is that within the realm of possibility? Let me ask this: how many days until you get the tracksuit in game?
If I do this for another 24 hours, I should get another 30, 40 kills. So, what's that? Puts me on about 70 to 80. I'd probably be 2 streams away. After that,
I gotta mention it. You say it in such a casual fashion where it's like it's just another day at the office, just racking up kills like that on the scav boss. But for the everyday Tarkov player, like myself, that maybe gets 1 or 2 a wipe, what's the difference between you and me? And don't hold anything back. How can you get 40? What helps you get 40? And people like plebs like me are struggling to get 1 to 2.
Let's go.
Once you play the game as much as me, you kind of learn patterns. Like I know where his spawns are now, so I just run to all his spawns, check his spawns, leave the raid. I don't worry about killing players. I don't worry about all the other stuff in between. I just go and do it. But it's easy for me because I know how long I can stay awake for. So when I was in the Army, I was awake for as long as 3 days straight. I did it 3 times in the Army. So for me, knowing that I can stay awake for 3 days makes being tired not something that's part of the equation anymore. It's just, like I said, another day in the office. Can
you share what kept you up for 3 days, or what the
bosses did?
They're just like, you got to stay up for 3 days, and you're like, well, I need to sleep.
No one sleeps into all the holes to dug, but there's too many holes to dig.
So you're doing.
I'm not bullshitting. That's how it is.
So you're doing physical work for 3 straight days. It's not like you're just chilling and you're like, you got to stay up.
Yeah, we had to dig holes for 3 days straight. I did that twice.
Was it a penalty, or is it like a character building?
No, it's part of training. It's about training for defensive operations and that.
At what point in that, like the first time you're staying awake for 3 days, at what point do you just flip the switch and say, this is what I'm doing and I'm going to live through it?
I think by the time you in the moment, you're like kind of excited, but daunting it at the same time. Like, it's like, can I just stay awake for 3 days? The second time you're doing it, it's just like, this is shit the whole time. But the first time, you're at least a little bit excited to see if you can do it.
All right, so 18 hours into this monumental stream, what physical cues are you expecting to have hit in the next like couple hours, like 24, 30? Like, does anything physically change for you, or are you just mentally locked in?
The time you usually wake up is the worst. So I wake up at 6 a.m. every day. So at 6 a.m., I'm going to feel tired, really tired. So I just got to keep focused and keeping busy. But then from like say 9 a.m. onwards, I'll be fine.
So, but like during that 3 hour window, like what do you physically feel like? Is it just
Tired? Like if chat will keep me awake, fine. But you just feel like your body's just your eyes feel heavy. You just feel like you should be sleeping. Yeah.
And since I know you've done this before in Tarkov. What was your longest stream so
42.
far? 42. Do you remember that when you did that 42-hour stream, going back to that?
42 was easy. I tried to do a 48-hour stream and I was fucking hating life. And there's been 2 37-hour streams where I was hurting towards the end. But the 42 was actually really easy. I kind of wish I went for 48 hours when I did the 42 hours stream. Okay,
real quick before I continue the interview, I'd be remiss. Can you please give ads? But in addition to that, when you get to that 6 to 9 hour window, 6 to a.m. to 9 a.m. window on your longer streams, what do you do to combat that? Do you drink?
Stand up more, eat more. I have plenty of fruit, healthy fruits. I've got strawberries with me. I've got blueberries, and yeah.
Got it. Okay. So you're going through the thick.
Last question, Dan. Last question.
Oh, you just got yeeted?
No, I just extracted.
Okay, cool. Well, congratulations. So last question for you. When this is all said and done, and you see give ads, you see the crazy support, you see Tarkov articles coming out saying Tarkov is the #1 game streamed on Twitch. Pestily is the #1 streamer on Twitch right now. When you look back at all this, what do you think will be your fondest memory?
Talking to you. No, the generosity from my community. Honestly, I've got something big planned for the 1st of January. I'm going to try and give back as much as I can then. So you'll see.
Well, Pestily, thanks so much. When I got the message this morning, I was fired up just because I know how much hard work and effort you put into this, and to see this happen for you is not surprising, but I'm just very happy for you and excited to see you lead the Tarkov community, man. And one more thing, give ads, please.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, I'll talk to you, man.
You're a legend. Thanks, man.
All right, see ya. All right, chat. That was a lot of fun. I'm gonna hit you with the backstory. So I was watching. Also, Twitch drops are enabled. I was watching Pestily last night, and I told my wife, I go, "Hey, look, like this is something big's happening. Some big's happening to someone we brought on the interview." And I just felt like it was an important moment. And more than anything, I was just excited for Tarkov in general. And then, of course, Pestily. So then wake up this morning and I check the Discord messages and I get a message from Pestily. It's like, "Hey, I need you to interview me." And I'm like...
So guys, without further ado, let's crack straight.
So it's really cool, and because I just know how much time and effort he's put into this, and it's not luck. It's not, it's not by chance. He's worked his face off, and in my opinion, I think he's a good steward of the community. I think he provides a tremendous amount of value to people in the community, both from an entertainment and educational standpoint. And he's a really enjoyable and entertaining streamer to watch. So I'm just very excited for him individually, as well as the Tarkov community. It was just, I think, like, I'm not saying this is the moment where, I know people are not super cannot be fond of Fortnite, but it's kind of like Tarkov's moment, with Fortnite when Ninja played with Drake. I'm not saying what Pestily and I was Ninja and Drake, but I'm just saying that moment, it's a really big moment for Tarkov. And you guys know how I feel about the game. So I'm very, very excited. Also, if you're sliding in from Pestily's channel, this is for you. I'm going to keep this on the soundboard without permission.
So guys, without further ado, let's crack straight into it.
But if you're coming in from Pestily's channel, we're just going on and talking about, as we're loading into a raid, what happened and what's going on right now for Pestily is not luck. It's not chance. It's a dude who's worked his face off, and the moment came and he was ready. And dude, I'm so fired up for him. And I've kind of looked, I've been watching like a little bit the other Tarkov streamers. It's those that say A rising tide lifts all boats. Those that say that's not true, here's what I have to say to you.
So, guys, without further ado, let's crack straight into it.
I don't have permission to play that, but I do for 24 hours.